Special guest this morning, Big Show Friday, hour number 2. We check in at Seven Oaks Classical School, and the headmaster is Dr. Stephen Shipp. Dr. Shipp, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Mike. Good to talk to you.
Great to talk to you, and thank you for finding some time for us, because we know that, just like everybody else in the county, you are getting ready to go for your first full week of school, and that's going to be next week. But your first day was just 2 days ago on Wednesday. Tell us what you saw on day number 1.
Yeah, day 1 was fantastic. The story there is growth. We were entering our third year. We had grown by about 40% from year 1 to year 2, from around the 160s to the 220s. And now on Wednesday, we saw over 330 kids in our building, so almost 50% growth from last year to this year.
Now, was that expected, or was that a little bit of a surprise?
Well, you never know for sure until students show up, but this was in the ballpark of what we'd expected. We try to be conservative in our estimates, and we were thrilled to see that as we continue to offer this education that is both time-tested and cutting-edge, that people are finding out about it and joining us.
How are people finding out about your message about the classical education that you're providing at Seven Oaks?
I think people find out from a variety of ways. We offer public information meetings. We give a lot of tours. Our website's a good source of information. But, I think that the number one biggest way that people find out about schools as I talk to them is just from other people who have some relationship with the school. Our families are our biggest cheerleaders.
And plenty of them, a 50% increase. That's impressive. Now, we know over on your side of the county that Steinsville Elementary School is no longer open. Did you see some students from there make the jump to Seven Oaks?
A few, but really not very many. But there's certainly, it seems, a lot of students whose families are looking for what is increasingly rare, a small public school that's a community school where their children can prosper in an environment that's close-knit, where people know each other. And so, yeah, that's something that our families have enjoyed and something we're happy to offer.
Dr. Stephen Shipp is our guest this morning. He's the headmaster at Seven Oaks Classical School, year number 3. And what have been probably the biggest differences you've seen in the last 2 years? I know each year is a next step on the process of getting closer to where you want to be eventually. What were some of your biggest changes from year number 1 to year number 2 that you hope to take into this year?
Well, so one of the big ones is one that we've already talked about, just growth in numbers. From year 1 to year 2, we grew by, like I said, about 40%. This year it looks like we're growing by a similar percentage. Another big change is the addition of grades. We started kindergarten through 8th grade, and we added a 9th grade last year, and this year we added 10th grade. So seeing that high school continue to grow and take form, that's very exciting. Part of what's exciting, too, is the growth that we're seeing in the lower grades, being able to add additional classrooms in kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, 4th grade. And
that was going to be my next question. If you're jumping up 50%, how's your physical building? Do you have enough space for everybody? Stacking them on top of each other?
We're very grateful for the space that we have. Yeah, we're as people around here will know, we're in the old elementary school, and it's a big building. We were able to renovate about half of it in our initial round of renovation. So we've actually been sitting on the first couple of years more space than we actually needed. And so we're just fleshing out this building, and eventually we hope over time to grow and finish renovating the building and fill it to capacity.
Well, that's the good news. You already have your footprint, and you just need to put some shoes and socks on your footprint, so that helps out as well. Tell me about what's the biggest misconception about Seven Oaks Classical School that you would love to have everybody understand that's not true.
When I have conversations with people in the community, I think one of the things that I keep running into is unfamiliarity with the fact that charter schools are public schools. And this is especially true when families are passing on Highway 46 and they see our students out in the field playing in their uniforms, and they think this must be a private school. And in fact, it is a tuition-free, open enrollment public school.
Tuition free, that's the key. Open enrollment, that's the key. Anybody is welcome to sign up, to register, to do any of this stuff. We're getting ready. We've just started the school year. And if somebody's hearing this message for the first time, can they still enroll? Do you suggest coming over and doing that immediately? Do you wait for next semester? This is a big jump for people that might just want to make this change. How do you get going? Is this the time of year to do it?
Yeah, it is. As a public school, our mentality is that as long as we have seats available in a grade, people are welcome to enroll. We want this education to be as available as possible, as broadly as possible. From our perspective, the sooner you enroll in the school year, the better. The good news is that because we just opened on Wednesday, we just started our term, then we're not too deep into the year. So if a family is thinking about making a change and finds themselves leaning that way, then I would say now's the time. They can just start the enrollment process online on our website, www.sevenoaksclasses.org, or they can call up the office for direction and just come visit us in person.
Now, the other question people might have as well, you mentioned driving by, seeing the uniforms, etc. You have athletic programs. You have music programs. This is. Tell me all about how these things work, because it is a normal school in that sense. It's not a private institution, as you mentioned.
Right. So there's the story there again is growth. One of the things we got to do last year, one of our most popular clubs was our music theater club. And we were able to put on a production of Annie over at the Tivoli Theater in Spencer this last spring. And so we continue to see some of these clubs gain in membership, and they're getting more ambitious in what they're undertaking. The Music Theater Club, I predict, will be a really popular club again this year. We also have our cross-country team that'll be competing in a few meets this fall. We have a girls' volleyball team that's still more intramural but growing. And I think as we continue to see more students added, particularly in the middle and high school, we'll see some of these club-level programs grow into interscholastic athletic teams. So yeah, a lot of growth there.
And that growth is happening at, like as you mentioned, at a wonderful pace. How do you keep up with the hiring of teachers and aides and coaches and everything else that comes around with that? Is that a difficult process?
Yeah, so growth always comes with challenges. Hiring the single most important thing that I think that I do. There's the saying that I've come across that teaching is not a lost art, but regard for it is a lost tradition. I'm looking for teachers who see teaching as an art, and I'm delighted to give them the freedom to practice that art here at Seven Oaks. We have increased by a good handful of teachers. We had 7 new teaching positions. We have about 10 new teachers in the building, and they're great. They're fantastic. They bring a lot of experience, and they're excited to be teaching at a classical school. Part of what makes all this possible is that we're also increasing in our staff. We have a new dean of students that we've hired, who has been a dean of students at another classical charter school for the last 5 years, Mr. Thomas. And we also have been able to hire a business manager in-house for the first time, Scott Reynolds, and we're very, very excited about the growth in our administrative staff. We run a pretty lean operation. The teachers and what they do in the classroom is foremost, but we've been able to grow too in the kind of support staff that makes the project this size possible.
Dr. Stephen Shipp is our guest this morning. He is the headmaster at Seven Oaks Classical School. So you've passed on some of your hats, huh? You're not wearing all these hats. Now you got a little help in the administrative world.
Working on passing them on.
Yeah, now you can call me every once in a while when we get caught up. That's the good news. And now, when we talk about a classical education, it's right there in the title of the school, Seven Oaks Classical School. For somebody who is not familiar with that, just give us a quick description of why you're a little bit different than the others.
Yeah, so we offer a traditional education that is content rich. We still put a premium on learning deeply, learning in a way that gives students a lot of practice and giving articulation to their thoughts, both in speech and in writing. Along the way, we spend a lot of time with the classics. Students are reading not just any literature, but great literature, cover to cover, and getting their own student copies of those books that they're annotating and talking about. In the upper grades, you see a lot of seminar-style discussion where we really dive in and give careful consideration to important ideas and questions that have been with mankind for millennia. And we also do some things that are used to be common but are now increasingly rare, like study the Latin language. 60% of the English language derives from Latin grammar and vocabulary, and so we give students the gift of deeper understanding of their own language, their own vocabulary by studying Latin. So there's some things that we do that are a tad different, but some of it's just downright fun and increasingly uncommon, like memorizing great poems, building up that stock of material you have right there at your fingertips. That's part of that's grist for your intellectual mill.
I like it.
Helps shape your own patterns of language.
Dr. Stephen Shipp's our guest. He's the headmaster at Seven Oaks Classical, and every month you have a board meeting as well. Who can attend these, and what do you guys discuss in your meetings?
Yeah, these are open meetings. Our next one is this coming Thursday night at 6:30 p.m. These range from updates about programs and academic accomplishments to finance things to different kinds of policy questions that might come up. Some of them are lively, some of them are boring, but anybody is welcome to attend at any time.
Well, that's absolutely fact. Sometimes just doing some standard business is boring. It doesn't always need to be exciting. Not as exciting as the ice cream social that kicked off your week this week. How'd that go?
Yeah, that's fantastic. We had a full house.
I was going to say, they're not coming out for the ice cream social. Come on, guys. Come on.
Yeah. We started this year with a convocation and ice cream social to give students a chance new students to meet returning students and for everybody to have a little bit of unstructured time together before we launched into our school year. For us, when we get into school, we want to get down to business. We do have this rich curriculum that we want to dive into as quickly as possible. And for us, state standards are really the floor and not the ceiling of what we're trying to accomplish in our program. And our academic growth shows that.
And not only do you have a busy week next Thursday with your monthly board meeting, you have a high school orientation meeting. Tell me what that's going to be about on Monday. Yeah,
with the growth of our high school, we want to just invite our families out, ones that might have children just in 8th grade now or entering 9th and 10th, and just talk to them about ways that their children can be preparing for high school and looking ahead to college, ways that we intend to help the students stay on track and to help them think about the goals that they want to achieve and the steps that it'll take to get there. So we're looking forward to a good conversation. We have part of the growth as a school, as an institution, as we see more and more teachers growing into faculty-level leadership positions, and we have some teachers who just really are helping us take it to the next level in terms of helping these upper school students plan for the future.
And if people want to be a part of this future and a part of this growth, what is the best way, or how is the best way to get a hold of Seven Oaks Classical for more information?
So anybody is welcome to call the office at 812-935-5003. And our website is certainly a source of a lot of information about the school, www.sevenoaksclassical.org. So those are a couple great starting points for finding out more about Seven Oaks Classical School.
Easy to navigate and easy to find all the information as well. Hey, I'll let you get back to work. Thanks for some time this morning, and we'll get caught up as the semester goes on and check in to see how everything's going out there in the northwest part of the county. Thanks, Doc. I appreciate the time.
All right, appreciate it.
Dr. Stephen Shipp, he is the headmaster at Seven Oaks Classical School, and we check in with him about once a quarter and see all the exciting and hear about all the exciting things. You can't see on the radio. I've tried it. You can't do it. You can hear about all the exciting things that are going on. sevenoaksclassical.org with all of your information.